Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's May 11th, 2014, and this week we're going to be doing a lesson covering improving our modes through Pentatonics. Now, this week's question was sent in from Ken. He's out in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and he wrote in with this email. I'm getting my head wrapped around modes right now, and I've decided to start with Phrygian. Something that has me confused is getting the mode to sound flowing when I use it for improvising. I read in an old interview with Kirk Hammett that by using modes alongside the Pentatonic Scales, it can be a good way to phrase with them. Can you make a lesson showing how to do this? I'd like to be able to use this in my own practice. Thanks from Ken in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Well, hey, thanks for writing in, Ken. I wore my Canada t-shirt for you. When we start getting into the use of modes, one extremely common transitional practice method is the use of the pentatonic scale. And since the Phrygian mode is a minor tonality mode, the corresponding pentatonic scale would be, of course, the minor tonality. So in other words, this means we can use the minor pentatonic to ease into the phrasing and overall sound of the Phrygian mode. Now, aside from learning how to blend the sounds of the pentatonic along with the mode, one of the most important things for modal study is establishing a solid chord progression that supports the mode that we want to develop. So we're going to begin with that first. Well, when it comes to establishing a solid set of chord changes for the practice of blending our minor pentatonic along with the Phrygian mode in this case, I'm going to start with a key that's very common to all guitarists. It's going to be the key of A minor. And I'm going to create a simple chord progression that's going to just contain two chords. It'll maintain also a low A bass note that'll drone as the primary color tone down in the bass. And then the other idea would be to influence the very important color tone of the mode. In this case, it's going to be the Phrygian mode's second degree. It's a lowered second. So it's a very important tone. So we're going to accent that. It's a B flat in this case against the A. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk across an A minor triad. Then I'm going to create a chord called an F add 4 with A in the bass. So that's a really interesting sound. Then I go back to the A minor. Then I'm going to create another version of that F add 4. So that'll be how the progression will move along. Here's how it sounds when you put it all together. So that's the progression we're going to be using for our Phrygian mode ideas. And before we start applying the Phrygian mode, I want to establish a general feel around these chords using the minor pentatonic. It's going to work fantastic to create melody, and it's a scale that won't conflict with anything. And one we can start easily phrasing with. Most people have a very good handle on the standard minor pentatonics. So this is going to be fairly straightforward for them. Now, I wrote an example melody that will work over this Phrygian chord progression. It's just really straightforward out of A minor pentatonic. Goes like this. So very simple melody. I have that chord progression in the loop pedal. I'm going to fire that up and play the melody over top of it. Here we go. Here it is again. So there you go. Just minor pentatonic over top of that chord progression. It works fine over top of all those sounds. And now that we've established a solid sound using minor pentatonic, we've gotten used to the progression, and we can start injecting some of what makes Phrygian modes so unique. And as I had mentioned earlier, the tone that is very uniquely targeted to the sound of Phrygian is going to be that lowered second degree. It's a B flat, if you'll recall. So in the next melody I've composed here, I'll be targeting directly into the sound of that lowered second, that B flat. It's going to be found on those chord changes where we move through that add 4, the F add 4 chord. So the melody is going to go like this. So you can see there we're getting into some of those sounds on that 8th fret B flat note. You can see it comes up on the second measure. And then again, we're going to have that on the 11th fret second string at the 4th measure. So here's the melody one more time. I'm just going to fire up the loop pedal so you can hear the sound of this over top of the progression. Here we go. So there you go. It's really interesting. You have that subtle connection to those B flat tones coming in. It's a great way to get used to any mode. You find its color tone, the real important target tone, and you drive into that. Now, next up, though, I want to move into more expansion between minor pentatonic and the Phrygian mode, take it further yet, by adding in a little more of the mode alongside the minor pentatonic. Now, the minor pentatonic scale, it just has 5 tones out of the complete A Phrygian mode, which of course has 7. And the unique color tone, you know, is obviously missing out of the pentatonic, as well as the lowered 6th degree. It's an F. There's no F in an A minor pentatonic. So if we can add in targeting both the F note as well as the B flat note, we're going to have some really nice unique sounds. So I've composed another melody that does just that. The last progression did not contain the F, so this time around we're going to have that. And basically the melody didn't contain the F, but let's go through the melody that I have for you. It goes like this. So here we're getting more and more color established around the sounds of that minor pentatonic. So we're adding in the B flat a little bit and a little bit of that F sound too. It's really nice to blend them. So let me fire up that loop pedal and give you a chance to hear how the chord progression sounds in the background of this melody. Here we go. So there you go. Now, the next thing I want to do in wrapping up is I want to think far more in relationship to the Phrygian mode itself, and pretty much exclude, in my mind at least anyway, the thoughts of me having to work through pentatonic and just really focus on the Phrygian mode itself. And you want to keep in mind that this approach that we're using here can be done for any mode that you want to study in order to develop a mode up to a much further level of skill. You want to determine the appropriate pentatonic that coincides. You'll want to find your target tones and slowly integrate them, and then at the end of it all, really hear the effects of how everything can get pointing much more at the mode itself, which is what this last melody I have is going to do. So we're still operating over top of those exact same chord ideas that we had, the chord progression from before, but this time around we're going to really focus on drilling a lot more through a busier melody that covers the Phrygian mode. So the melody will go like this. So here we have that busy 16th note phrase at the end there, leading us right into that B flat note. Okay, so let me fire up the loop pedal and give you a chance to hear how this sounds with the progression in the background. Here we go. Well, now that we've created all these examples, let's just jam out on this chord progression a little bit, applying everything we've learned, and basically just having some fun, improvising, using both the A minor pentatonic, as well as the A Phrygian mode. Here we go. Well, you know, when we were first studying the modes, and initially, learning how they operate melodically, it's quite common to feel discouraged with the application in different contexts, especially within improvisation. So by using the pentatonic scale as a bridge between phrasing with a scale we know well, obviously the pentatonic, and then moving toward learning how to phrase with a scale that's new and different to our ears, which of course would be a mode, we can slowly learn how to cross between the two scales and do so in not only a more melodic way, but also with a much more enjoyable learning experience overall. See, by using the pentatonic as a stepping stone, and basically by using major pentatonic with all the major corresponding modes, and then using minor pentatonic with all the minor modes, such as we showed here with the Phrygian, of course, being a minor mode, and we use minor pentatonics, just that easy. But by doing that, any mode can be developed faster and more melodically than without doing this system. Trust me, this is a great way to do it, and it's really easy, and you'll have a lot of fun messing around with it. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and we'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.